I thought the robots were gonna kill me. Guys, this is gonna be a video about how to switch from MDI to an insulin pump. Now, it doesn't matter what MDI you're using, it doesn't matter what type of insulin pump you're going to, there are likely similar feelings associated with everyone who's switching, or everyone who has ever switched, right? Now, when I first got offered the option to switch to an insulin pump, I said no. It's like, no way. I'm a master of MDI. I figured this out. Why would I want to switch to something new? Why would I want to start over as a rookie? Right? I don't want to lose the experience that I've had and have to start over, learn new strategies, learn new tips and tricks, right? I was scared. I was a little bit nervous. I didn't want to be in this position where I might not know exactly what to do and have this tight control. And what it boils down to is I was a control freak, right? I didn't want to lose the control that I had and the life that I had built knowing how injections worked. But there's also a small part of me, I'm laughing a little bit because it sounds silly looking back, but in that moment it was very serious, very real fear. I thought my pump was going to kill me. I really did. I saw it as a computer that could potentially malfunction without me knowing, deliver too much insulin, and I would die in my sleep. That was a real fear of mine, guys. That was an honest fear that I had. Going into an insulin pump life. I put it on, I tried, the week trial where they put you on, and it went all right, but I still went back to MDI for a couple weeks. About a month later, I contacted and said, you know what, I'm ready. I heard lots of great stuff, I did tons of research, looked into all the articles. Looks like an insulin pump is overall the better decision for me going into this. Now, your reasoning for going to a pump from MDI could be very different, right? It could be you want tighter control, it could be you want less responsibilities, because the pump kind of does take care of a lot of the calculations for you, and nowadays pumps are getting pretty darn smart with their algorithms. But whatever your reason is, I want to give you a couple pointers, a couple tips. So first one, you're taking your basal insulin on shots, right? You're used to that once a day, maybe twice a day injection of your basal insulin, be it Lantus or Tresiba or whatever it is. Going into an insulin pump, the second you hit go, it's going to start delivering basal, which is fast-acting insulin. So it's going to hit you, faster than your normal Lantus would or your Tresiba. I was on Lantus, that's why I keep saying that. So let's say that you're like me, and you took it at 10 o'clock at night every single night, or you're supposed to, right? You try your best to take it at the same time every single night. Do not start your pump basal insulin before 10 o'clock, right? Wait until 10, hit go. If you start it at, let's say, 5 p.m., you got double insulin, double basal. That's gonna be whacking you in the face in a couple hours because you're getting way too much. Wait until your existing shot of MDI, your last MDI shot, wait until that kind of dissipates and goes away. By the time you're supposed to take your shot again, don't take your shot. Instead, start your pump. Now, when I started, they hooked it up at my training, I think it was like 10 a.m. So what they did is they set a temp rate of 0%, a temporary rate of 0%, meaning I would get 0% basal, no basal, flatline, until 10 p.m. So it was a 12-hour temp rate of 0, which meant at 10 it would automatically begin, and thus my life as a pumper would start. Now, within the realm of pumping versus MDI, there's a lot of discussions on which is better, and ultimately it boils down to you. What is best for you? Now, I've done a few experiments recently, if you've been following my journey, and what it boiled down to between MDI and pump, to me, is simplicity versus having the ability to customize. So simplicity versus customization. The insulin pens are very simple. You take insulin once a day for basal and once during your meals, maybe a few correction shots here and there, and you set it aside. Simple. Now the pumps, not simple at all, because they have the option to customize. If you want to set a temp rate, you can. You can set it as less or more, different variations of less or more. You can unclip your pump if you want 0. You can take more bolus, less bolus. Nowadays they have algorithms where you can launch, like we have Control IQ, we have loopers, all sorts of crazy stuff, which is awesome. And it makes diabetes life a lot easier once you figure it out, but it does mean you have to figure it out, right? There is a learning curve. So making the right decision for you is what it boils down to. Do you want simplicity? Do you want customization? Do you like being hooked up to a piece of technology? Would you rather not have to deal with it? Choice is yours. Now, as I mentioned, there's going to be more customization, right? So you have the options now to set temporary basals, both lower and higher. You might have the option to increase bolus, decrease bolus, do things real time. It calculates the insulin to carb ratio for you. It's going to take a lot of the pressure off of you and kind of run things smoothly. And it gives you the option to isolate different variables, right? You can change your basal rates throughout the day, make little micro corrections. You can change it to give you more insulin in the early morning to help battle your dawn phenomenon like me. Dawn phenomenon like me, right? There's a lot of different options for customization, but there are also a few different cons, right? There's always pros and cons. There's never anything that's just pros. So a few of the cons, one, depending on the pump you have, you might have tubing, right? The insulin tubing, the cartridges, the sites, you're going to have an extra piece of technology that is literally connected to you, which is kind of funny with rechargeable pumps like the one I have, the Tandem T-Slim X2, right? Almost messed that up. Because of its rechargeable battery, I literally can plug myself into the wall or my car. It's a weird thing to think about, considering I myself am plugged into a power source, right? Because my pump is plugged into the wall and that pump is connected to me through my insulin pump site. It's very interesting. Anyways, you might have tubing to consider, getting caught on doorknobs or on people while they're hugging you. You have an insulin pump site now. Depending on the type of site you have, it might be a needle, it might be a cannula, but you've got something connected to you that you don't want people to rip out. You don't want babies or dogs to rip out. You have to take that into consideration at the beach, keeping your pump site clean, right? It's not as difficult as it sounds. I'm kind of just listing things off. It sounds a lot worse than it is. I still surf, I still go hiking, right? It'll just essentially make your diabetes a little bit more obvious. So you have to be ready for that. People out in public might see your insulin pump. And if you hate the idea of that, maybe it's not for you. Now you can always stuff your insulin pump in your pocket. There are ways to be a bit more incognito with your insulin pump, right? But I wear mine proudly on my hip. It's a conversation starter. I love to educate people. And if you're not there yet, it's totally okay. But be aware, it's going to be a little bit more obvious that you do have diabetes. So, another one of the things to consider. Now, ultimately, as I said, this is a decision for you to make between MDI and pump. Are you ready for customization, or is that too overwhelming and you want simplicity? Are you sick of having to give one shot and being stuck with that basal rate? You'd prefer to have the customization of basals every single hour of the day? Choice is yours. Now, if you want more information on how to automate your blood sugars and deal with all the frustrating highs and lows and keep it right in that middle range a bit more, we have coaching programs for that. And I invite you to go check out ftfwarrior.com. We've got a lot of great free resources. We also have our programs. We have the trending journal, which is right there. I use that to help find trends and patterns in my blood sugars to better control it and so that it does not control me, right? Quality of life, that's what we're all after here. So go to ftfwarrior.com and make sure before you leave, right there's gonna be a button that pops up. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you do not miss these awesome videos. We pop out these videos usually about once a week. So click that button, subscribe. You do not wanna miss the next video. I promise you it's gonna be awesome because I'm about to film it. All right guys, have an awesome day and keep up the fight.